pool to work on whatever products they're working on. So they've ceased to exist because reportedly Apple acquired them. So we're just telling you, we're fishing in the right ponds. If things like that is happening on the things that we're doing here, that's cool. Well, yes, sir.
I guess I have a final question.
Your final question.
The city's pension fund.
Mhm.
So pension funds are funded based on numerous assumptions. Obviously, Dallas and Fort Worth have had a lot of wrong assumptions in their pension funds. How can you assure us that Arlington's city pension fund is properly funded to take care of the employees without bankrupting the city in the future?
Sure. So the way our pension fund works is like this. It's not a defined benefit program. It's not really a defined contribution program. It's a hybrid. So what happens is while you're an employee, the city puts a certain amount into the account and you put a certain amount into the account. And right now it's 7% from the employee and 16% from the city. So 23% going into an account. And it just sits there, and over time it accrues interest and compounds on itself. And then at the time someone leaves, based on how much money is in the account, an annuity is purchased. And the value of the annuity is based solely on how much was invested. So our average pension amount for Arlington employees is around $40,000 when they leave. That's what they're making kind of in retirement. It's not what they were making before. It's probably somewhere between around 40% maybe of what their wage was when they were working here. But it also depends on how long they worked here. So someone who leaves after 20 years, it would be different than someone who's been here 30 years. Because that magic of compound interest on the back end of that curve, it goes up. It's limited by the amount that was in the account when the annuity is cash. So there's not a long-term liability there for that. That said, we're not Dallas and Fort Worth. Let me assure you of that. When you go to their actuarial assessments and they ask you what the amortization period is on their deal, you hit the infinity symbol on that. And you come to Arlington, and we put it in our financials every year. Right now, the funded ratio sits around 87 to 89%, somewhere in there. So it's not fully funded, but that remaining piece is on what's called the closed loop amortization over the next 18 years. So we are, feathering that down just the same way we would pay a bond debt, because it's a pension obligation, it's a debt. So over 18 years, I can't extend it. It is what it is. It's fully funded. We got that way. Honestly, about a decade ago, we fixed what we were sitting here 10 years ago, probably at 65% funded. Now we're at 89% funded, and we did so collaboratively with our police and fire associations. We all got on the same page, went down together with TMRS, the Texas Municipal Retirement System, had a joint program with some recommendations, and those recommendations boosted us. But in return for that, we had to agree to certain commitments. And we've been delivering on those commitments for the last decade, just working it right along. When the amortization started, it was a 30-year loop, and now we're down to 18. We'll finish it out, and then we'll be done. So we're in good shape, really good shape. We don't show up on any of those watch lists for pension fund concerns. In fact, I think we'd show up on some of the best lists that are out there. And it's a fair approach, and our employees are very appreciative of that benefit. It's a lot of reasons why people are with us. So I'll hang around for a couple of minutes afterwards. If anybody's got any specific questions they want to ask me, they get a chance.
Trey.
Appreciate it.
Remember, our next meeting, September 17th, on a Tuesday.